What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Touching Bases podcast. I'm Chad and I don't know ball. Hunter Brown and the Astros are already looking like a team shopping for deadline help in April. Connor Griffin getting his ass taken out at second base because apparently finishing the fucking play was optional. The Dodgers are casually pacing towards a historic season like they're playing franchise mode in the rookie difficulty on MLB The Show. Munetaka Murakami. Oh my God. Proving baseball fans still think batting average is the only stat that matters. It's not. Trevor Bauer still baseball's biggest PR nightmare, and we'll dig into that the most. Jake Cronenworth nearly losing his jaw on a fastball inside. PNC Park, I don't know what happened in Pittsburgh, but it looked like Final Destination. LSU, and we don't cover college stuff very often, but it's pretty relative to the MLB. LSU fans are kind of realizing it's pretty hard to replace Paul Skeens with good vibes and not a roster strategy whatsoever. And the Mets, holy shit, 10 straight losses. All right, let's get into it.
Fly ball. Did he get enough? He did! Manny Machado stands alone as the Padres' all-time home run leader.
Oh my goodness, Jim Joyce.
And this pitch is hit to deep center field. Back goes Lofton to the track, to the wall. Cameron has done it. Mike Cameron.
Let's start in Houston, where the Astros are learning pitching death matters. Shocking. Hunter Brown hits the IL with a grade 2 shoulder strain after allowing just one run in 10 and 2/3 innings with 17 strikeouts to start the season. No, I couldn't verify the viral quote of him saying Astros need deadline moves, but honestly, he didn't need to. Christian Javier is out. Tetsuya Yamai has now hit the IL and because he's uncomfortable. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there because it seemed like there was more emotional stuff, and I don't understand the emotional thing. We heard this from Roki Sasaki last year, so I don't know if this is a trend. Jeremy Pena is hurt once again this season, and then Brown is also down. Didn't mean to rhyme there. At this point, Houston's rotation has the structural integrity of a drunk IKEA furniture assembly. This isn't panic, this is math. The Astros don't need optimism, they need functional elbows. But when best pitchers start disappearing before tax season even ends, the trade deadline starts looking like an emergency surgery. So all jokes aside, let's be clear about this. I think Hunter Brown is saying the front office needs to start looking for trade acquisitions sooner than later because their entire rotation is pretty much under the weather. So what does that mean when it comes to making trades? Who's going to go? Who are they going to give up? Do they have even depth in the farm system? Or is this going to be one of those things where it's a, hey, nudge, nudge, do something, we'll find out in July, but then it might be too late. I don't know. Chandler Simpson and Connor Griffin gave us baseball favorite traditions. It's everyone on the internet suddenly becoming an umpire. Isn't that fun? Simpson slides into second trying to avoid Griffin and still manages to fully on collide with him, and the Pirates get an interference call. Inning is over. Half are literally saying that it's the runner's fault for sliding in. I would say half of them are just all of the Pittsburgh Pirate fans that happen to jump on Twitter because the Pirates are doing decent this year. And then the other are like, what the fuck else is he supposed to do? Teleport? Wasn't even in the base path and was 4 or 5 feet away from the bag. Still had a collision, as you saw. Let's be honest, if Chandler Simpson is on base, chaos is legally required because he is a speed demon. But from Griffin's side, buddy, if you're gonna make a huge collision, at least make a better attempt at throwing to first base to make the play. I'm assuming you jumped off the base into Chandler just to make it so that you have an interference call because you knew you couldn't make the play, but at least make the throw to first base. That was the worst part of this whole thing. You really just can't get bulldozed and then act shocked when it was entirely your fault. Now on to the Dodgers, who apparently took competitive balance personally. People were saying they were on pace to win 128 wins. Now, they did lose to the Rockies, and they're 15-5, so now that technically drops their pace down to a pathetic 121 win season. How will they survive? They had a plus 51 run differential. Shohei Ohtani extended his on-base streak to 50 games, which broke Ichiro's record. The lineup is stupid. The pitching is stupid. The payroll looks like they bought a small country. They pitch, they slug, they win close, they win blowouts, they beat you because your bullpen blinked. This is baseball terrorism with luxury tax paperwork. That's a tongue twister. The only thing that could really slow them down at this point is injuries, and they already have those. Edwin Diaz is now out and hasn't stopped them. They haven't had Blake Snell all season, hasn't slowed him down at all. So what's the next move? And on top of that, they have prospects that are knocking on the door and proving that they probably should be on an MLB team as a starter. We'll just stand by and watch more, I guess. But hats off to the Rockies for at least pulling out a win at home. I bet you the home fans actually like that, especially when it's a blizzard outside. Munetaka Murakami, I think I said it right that time. He might actually be the biggest story this year as far as people talking about batting average and completely ignoring everything else. The story in baseball right now is his power and what he's been able to do, and silencing those who say that he can't catch up to a major league fastball. Because people see a 209 average and instantly go, see? MPB doesn't translate. Yeah? Cool. Now let's use our fucking eyes. Through 88 plate appearances, 7 home runs, 20 walks, 386 OBP, a 522 slug. That's an OPS of 908. He has 153 WRC plus. That's not struggling. That's literally elite production that even the Dodgers would love to have. That is a thank you for the discount production. And then you get into the StatCast stuff and it gets even deeper. 94.8 mile per hour average exit velocity, 96th percentile, by the way, 23.7 barrel rate. That's 98th percentile, 63.2% hard hit rate. That's 98th percentile, a 560 expected slug, 92nd percentile, 398 expected WOBA, 90th percentile. Basically, when he touches the baseball, it needs witness protection. The problem? He swings like every pitch personally insults his family. First percentile in whiff rate, 7th percentile in strikeout rate. To use percentiles in a sentence, he chases 94th percentile of bad decisions and somehow still walks at a 97th percentile clip. He's in the 90s of everything, or he's in the single digits of everything. So you kind of get the best of the best and the worst of the worst all in one player, which honestly feels impossible. He's basically saying, I will absolutely swing at this slider in another zip code, but I also might hit it 430 feet. Terrifying is not a word that we associate with the White Sox. And here's where people are screwing up the velocity conversation. Yes, premium velocity up in the zone can still beat him. That's very real. Against the four-seamer, he's only batting 182 average, which sounds ugly until you realize he's also slugging 591 against them. Meaning, if you beat him, great. If you miss, that baseball is now in witness protection. That's the trade-off. He's not struggling, he's kind of adjusting, and his plate discipline is translating, his power absolutely translated, and when he misses kind of loud. And if he's able to clean up even a little bit against elite velocity, pitches are completely, absolutely, professionally fucked. Now let's talk about baseball's favorite PR guy, Trevor Bauer.
I think, I don't know, I don't really think about image rehabilitation because I think I have a fine image with the fans, the baseball players, coaches, front offices, all that stuff. All the conversations I have privately are good. So my image is what it is. I don't control my image, unfortunately. You guys largely control my image. So if you could do me some favors on that front, it'd be super helpful. I'd appreciate it. But I put out a lot of content so people can see exactly who I am and how I am with the team, and I try to educate baseball fans, educate baseball players, make it easier for the next generation to have access to information and insight into the game. And I think anyone who watches my content and pays attention can see exactly who I am.
And let's be honest, because too many people either scream he's innocent or ban him for life, throw him in jail, whatever, without actually knowing what the hell they're talking about. Baseball-wise, his overseas run wasn't one clean story. In Japan in 2023, he went 10-4 at a 2.76 ERA. In Mexico in 2024, he went 10-0, 2.4 ERA, 120 strikeouts, pitcher of the year. Yeah, I would say MPB is probably better than Mexico, but still, it's professional league just south of us. Now, that wouldn't be considered totally washed, right? It's still real talent. Then you have 2025 last year where he went back to Japan and he went kind of the opposite. 1-4, lost 10, and an ERA of 4.51, which was some of the worst stats in all of the MPB. So no, the take is not Trevor Bauer is still prime Cy Young Bauer and MLB is stupid. That's kind of a lazy take to roll up, but it's also lazy to pretend that he's out of the MLB because he's suddenly forgot how to pitch. That's also bullshit. He was never criminally convicted, and biggest accusations didn't end the way social media still pretends they did. A lot of people talk like everything was proven against him, and that's just factually wrong. What actually scares teams, though, they just don't trust him to shut the fuck up. That's kind of the real issue here. He always has a camera. He always has a mic. He always has a YouTube video. He always has something to say, and owners hate that shit. Teams can tolerate weird. We look at Tristan Casas, for example. He's still on a team, and even though he's hurt all the time like Anthony Rendon, they can tolerate controversy. Look at Wilson Contreras or Framber Valdez or anybody who's started controversy. Jorge Soler recently. They're fine with that. Whatever. Get suspended, fire up the clubhouse, whatever you want to say. Hell, they can even tolerate assholes if their talent is worth it. What they hate is unpredictability. They want controlled messaging. They want boring press conferences. They want PR departments sleeping peacefully. Trevor Bauer is exactly the opposite of that. He is a walking HR meeting every day of every minute of every week of every year. And ownership looks at that and says, even if the talent is there, do we really want this circus every damn day? Probably not. And then after last year, it didn't help himself. Well, this year he did go ahead and join an indie professional league, the Long Island something Frogs. I don't even know. I'm never going to watch them. But I also think this is all kind of stupid. Fans don't stop supporting teams because of one player. So if this guy is now in an indie league back in the United States and the team wants to offer him a contract, that team, that fan base is going to probably route around him because he's your team player, especially if they're willing to look at the facts. Winning fixes almost everything, but front offices think like corporations at this point, kind of like the last video. If you guys haven't seen it, go ahead and check it out here. And corporations hate people that they can't control. That's why Trevor Bauer is still out. Not because he can't pitch. It's because they can't control the show. Real quickly, Jake Cronenworth nearly lost his jaw after Yusei Kikuchi threw a fastball that bounced off his shoulder and connected into his jaw. I don't know if there was any blood or anything like that, but it took him down, and it was bad.
Oh, my goodness.
Up and in. And
Oh, Jake got hit in the face? Did he get hit in the... Oh!
Glad he's okay, but yeah, if you're not cringing, then you have no soul. Problem with me these days, I sleep wrong and I need 2 chiropractor visits and emotional support. So the fact that he's able to take a 96-mile-an-hour baseball to the face and be like, nah, I'm good, let me go run on the bases, is relatively insulting. I don't know if you guys saw this clip. PNC Park decided baseball was optional and weather violence was the main event. The winds were so bad there that they moved the first pitch earlier, and they had debris and umbrellas got ripped loose and launched through the stands like Pittsburgh entered tornado boss level. Reportedly, there was an umbrella that went through the stands nearly 400 feet. Now imagine paying premium tickets to go to a game and you just get assaulted by patio furniture. As far as I know, nobody was seriously hurt, but that thing did rip through and probably snag a few ears or hit some people in the arms. And surprisingly, I thought it was AI the first time I saw it, just because people didn't seem to react. They kind of just sat there and just like, oh, okay. It was weird. It was very weird. Jumping over to college real quick, and I know this podcast is getting a little bit long, but the LSU fans are kind of learning a difficult lesson. Replacing Paul Skeens and Cade Anderson is hard as shit to do.
Yeah, I think it's a deep-rooted thing. You know, we're off, and it will never happen again. We need to be able to stay on the ball better and, you know, hit the ball back through the middle of the field and the other way and hit the ball lower with shorter swings. It's not the era that these players that we are coaching right now have grown up in. A lot of them, you know, talk about exit velo and distance and home runs and all, and those are great. You know, we have plenty of home runs, honestly. We actually do. Like, I think we're 4th in the league or 5th in the league in homers. I made some mistakes in constructing the team and trying to replace 2 guys that were irreplaceable, where we should have looked for replacing them through guys that were already in the program and then replaced the guys that we're athletic and can play defense and be more complete players. Okay, we won't make that mistake again. You know, the power moving forward will come from players that start their career here and develop into it like Jake has.
Now let me break this down for you. Since 2023, they lost Paul Skeens, Dylan Cruz, Tommy White, Trey Morgan, Ty Floyd, plus more major departures like Kate Anderson. Jay Johnson even admitted that I made a mistake constructing the roster trying to replace guys that were irreplaceable. Translation, when you're in the SEC, pretty good of a team, get your ass buried. LSU didn't forget how to coach baseball. They lost generational talent. It's a huge difference. In his interview, you can't really get too confused about what he's trying to say because it's talking about how you have natural specimens that are going to make it to the MLB very fast, very quick, and are going to be #1 picks. And then you run into players that are selected to come try out. You can only bring in so many people that want to come play for LSU or any other colleges. There's more colleges out there than there are MLB teams. So the selection is less. Yeah, do people want to come play for LSU? But is the talent actually showing up? And are they able to give out those scholarships? That's kind of the difference. And LSU has just had a really good run. But being in the SEC, you kind of got to be the best if you're going to be able to compete. And right now, they're a very good team as is. They're not what they used to be. And for some sad news, and finally, we'll get to the Mets. Yeah, 10 straight losses. 10. At this point, they're not just in a slump. They're conducting a live experiment on suffering. They've scored 2 runs or fewer in 8 of those 10 games, and it's not bad luck. That's an offense filing for unemployment. And naturally, fans blame Carlos Mendoza because apparently managers are expected to personally hit cleanup. People have been complaining online about the bullpen moves, the lineup, the platoons, the vibes, probably the way he breathes. Mendoza didn't build this roster. He didn't make veterans forget how to hit. He didn't injure Juan Soto. He writes the lineup card. He does not personally hit 167 with runners in scoring position. This is a front office problem wearing a manager's face. 10 straight in April doesn't mathematically kill your season, but spiritually, the funeral already has catering. If you look at the other side, this team was constructed by bringing in pretty much nothing but second basemen and saying, hey, you play third, you play short, you play first, you play DH, and you play second. Look how that's working out. Doesn't matter what the value is of the player, you really do need to start considering maybe I should be picking up big name players for their specific position that they know well and can continue to grow off of and to help your team. There's also the thought that maybe, just maybe, you have too many big names on this team. Who's the captain? I'll leave that for you guys to decide. Drop it down below. Are the Dodgers actually beatable? Do the Astros need deadline help now in April? Would you sign Trevor Bauer if he was available and your team needs pitching? And how many more losses before Mets fans try to physically manage the team themselves? I'm guessing 3. Subscribe, like, I love you, and I'll catch you all later.